Now, the Big Country's Hidden History continues on KRBC.
Baylor University professor Robert Darden has been on a quest to preserve black gospel music.
And due to their condition, there's a process on how to bring the more than 14,000 items back to life. Here's KRBC's Renee Sumberhour as she explains.
Take my hand.
It's an era of music most thought to be lost forever. The golden age of black gospel music. Between the 1940s and the 1970s, the genre, a one-of-a-kind piece of black history, was slowly beginning to fade away until one Baylor professor decided to save it.
Most of the music I was writing about I couldn't hear. It wasn't available. So I met with some collectors and we came up with the figure that about 75% of gospel music from gospel's golden age, which is say 1945, 1975, it is unavailable through litigation, it's in landfills, it's any number of reasons, racism.
So Darden wrote about it, a call to action to save black gospel music, and a 2005 op-ed in the New York Times.
And it said, if we let this music disappear, future generations are going to judge us really, really harshly.
The story got the attention of businessman Charles Royce.
I don't know anything about gospel. I don't know anything about you. But I've just done some research and I think you're right. You figure out how to save it and I'll pay for it.
With the help of Royce and Baylor's digital project group, the team is responsible for digitizing, imaging, preserving, and curating the online presence of the collection.
When you listen to the music, you understand how important it is to the history of this country, history of music.
And due to their conditions, there's a process to bringing them back to life.
So that involves rinsing off any sort of dirt or grime that's kind of built up on the record. And then once the record is ready to go, ready to be transferred, we move it to one of our turntables that can do a really good job of getting a clean transfer of the record. We actually can extract the music exactly how it sounded when it was played on a turntable, 50 years ago.
With more than 14,000 items saved in digital archives, this collection is now making history.
We have more gospel music than the Library of Congress. And that's why little old white Baylor in the middle of Texas provides the gospel music for the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C.
This is an era of our history that is being forgotten, and it's an era that I've learned that it's really been impactful, not just on, the current state of music, but on the current state of our country.
They also found another part of history related to black gospel music that also needed saving.
And then a few years ago, we realized that you can't separate black preaching from black music or black music from black preaching. And we realized nobody was saving that either. So we began systematically contacting the families of some of the great African American preachers of the last 100 years to say, let us digitize the cassettes and video cassettes and audio cassettes of their sermons. And we have received things that have been underwater for a decade. We've received things that have been in pieces. And with this equipment, we can extract a gorgeous signal out of just about anything. Give us a chance.
A group in Bullitt County, Georgia is remembering the lives of slaves by touring the location where they were buried.
KRBC's Khalil Maycock brings us a closer look at the historic site.
As people start heading into the Mount Pisgah Primitive Baptist Church Cemetery, the If These Cemeteries Could Talk tours begins. This is where some of the formerly enslaved African Americans from Bullitt County are buried. Alvin Jackson was hosting the tour and giving a brief history of their lives, stopping at times so people on the tour could say their names.
We have a saying that you are never truly dead until we or they stop calling your name. So today we wanted to call the name of the ancestors and give them new meaning and let them know that we appreciate the very tough legacy that they've left.
He says the legacy of some of the slaves buried here includes them building the Willow Hill School in Portal. Many of them taught there, one of the first schools for African Americans in the area, built a couple of years after slavery ended.
This is a part of American history, Georgia history, Bullitt County history, but often not included in the textbooks.
Another reason he says it's important for the tour, so that message and others can be passed along to those who come. For Deidre Hodges, coming to this cemetery was special because it's where her roots are.
To know that his grave is still in existence for us to see it, because so many slaves' graves are not in existence anymore, and people can't find a direct lineage.
She says she can always come back and visit.
And when we come back here on KRBC's Hidden History.
How a big name in barbecue has big country roots.